Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got a super salty commander for you. Well, one that I should say some players might consider super salty because some players don't like losing in this particular way. Well, some players don't like losing at all, but that you're in Commander. You're going to lose 75% of your games, like on average, right? But in this particular way, players, some of which don't like it. I'm fine with it, but yes, some players might get salty. So with all that said, let's jump into the commander, and that is Etali, Primal Conqueror. Now, this is a very good side, but the other side very well might be the salty side. Let's go through this real quick, though. A 7/7 trampling elder dinosaur for 5 red. On top of that, an incredible ETB. When it enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards to the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast a number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. Gross. Incredible. Hey, so much value. An incredible amount of value on an ETB. So the second you cast this commander, you are getting value, not just from the top of your library, but off the top of an opponent's library, all opponents' libraries as well. So potentially for, cards that you might want to cast, for non-land cards you might want to cast. So yeah, have fun with that. And as if that weren't enough, again, that is a lot of value, and yes, you can build this deck around the front side, but again, I decided to build it with the super salty side, so let's flip this over after we pay 9 in a Phyrexian green to transform this. And yes, this commander does cost 7 mana, and yes, that is a good amount of mana to transform it, but of course, we are in Gruul, so we have access to green, so we can ramp very effectively, very efficiently, and we can definitely get there. So let's flip this over. And on the backside, we've got Etali, Primal Sickness. That's right, it's time to get down with the sickness for all you Disturbed fans out there. 11/11 trampling, indestructibling, that's definitely a word, Phyrexian Elder Dinosaur. Oh, and by the way, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. And of course, a player 10 poison counters loses the game. So basically a slightly nicer version of Infect. This doesn't, replace combat damage on creatures with -1/-1 counters. But so the important part, hey, giving poison counters to opponents based on the amount of combat damage you deal to them, yeah, that is deadly. That is incredible. Basically a Blightsteel Colossus in some ways in the command zone. Well, in the command zone, then you get value, then you flip it. There you go. So yes, this commander can definitely be considered super salty by some players out there who might not like poison, might not like losing to poison. And yeah, this is a one-shot KO if you can get through on an opponent. Or even if you say, maybe get blocked by a couple creatures and your opponent's like, I think I'm good, I'm fine. And then you just, instant speed do something to make this, well, maybe hit twice as hard, maybe more than twice as hard. And your opponent is like, I'm God and sad and salty, no! So yeah, there's some really cool things that you can do with this commander. You can get this commander out pretty quickly with a deck like this, and you can make it hit incredibly hard. You can make it unblockable. You can make it take out multiple players in the same turn. And we're going to get to all that and more on this episode. And again, on these episodes, I'm going to take you through different tactics to show you how this deck works and how we're going to win with it. Also, this deck is budget friendly. The commander itself is nearly $6, and that is actually a good amount of the budget. But the rest of the deck is incredibly budget friendly as well, because every single card in this deck outside the commander is less than $1. So the total budget for the deck, according to Moxfield, is $31.38. Now, do keep in mind that does not include the cost of basic lands, but you might already have those. Maybe your friends have them for you. Maybe an LGS has them for you, or you can just buy them in bulk very cheaply. Or, you can just buy them individually if you want to as well. Regardless, you might be able to save even more by buying this deck on TCG Player and utilizing heavily played and damaged cards, which of course need a home too. Now, with all that said, well, if you are interested in this deck, check out that deck list in the description below. And now, let's jump into the tactics. Starting things off with tactic number 1, which I'm calling Primal Preparations. And of course, first up, there's Wayfarer's Bauble. Pay 2, tap, sacrifice, go get a basic land and a play tapped. Moving on. Another great turn 1 play with Wild Growth, a fantastic aura, enchant a land. Whenever that land is tapped, you get to add an extra green. So basically, double up the efficiency of that land. Moving on, we basically have a Rampant Growth with Edge of Autumn, but only if you've got 4 or fewer lands. Though, later on in the game, you can utilize this card in a different way by cycling it away by sacrificing a land, so that's fantastic. Speaking of Rampant Growth, yeah, Rampant Growth. Go get a basic into play, tap for 2 mana. Speaking of which, Secure Tribe Elder, basically Rampant Growth on a body. Sorry, Steve, we're going to sacrifice you. You're going to go bye-bye, and we are going to get our land. Next up, Cultivate for 3 mana. We get 1 basic into play, tapped, 1 into our hand to set up our next land drop. Then we've got Grow from the Ashes. Hey, do you like basics? Do you like getting them into play? Do you like getting them to play untapped? Pay 2 to kick this, and you get 2 to play untapped. You don't kick it, you just get the 1, but still very good turn 3 or turn 5. Next up, we've got turn 3 or turn 5. I guess I should say you've got the mana for it earlier. Good for you. Harrow, a great turn 3 play as well. Sacrifice a land, get 2 basics into play untapped. Another 3 mana, we've got Nissa's Pilgrimage. Again, we have a 2-color deck. We are okay with just getting forests. So, hey, go get 2 basic forests. 1 goes in your hand, 1 goes to play tapped. Basically a Cultivate, or if we've got Spell Mastery, which is very easy to get to, hey, go get 3 forests instead. Moving on, Overgrowth. Another great enchant land. Enchant a land. It's going to tap for additional 2 green mana. Green additional. That is fantastic. That makes that land incredibly impactful. And again, gets us to our commander quite quickly. Speaking of which, a great turn 1 play as well. Search for Tomorrow. We can spend 2 for just a single green mana. When we do cast it, get a basic into play untapped. Then we've got a battle. Yeah, that's right. Invasion of Zendikar. Basically explosive vegetation, but on a battle. On the ETB, go to basics and play tapped. And if we take down those defense counters on it, we flip it over to Awaken Skyclave, a 4/4 Vigilance and Haste. That can also just tap for mana too. And it's also a land. Cool. Why not? Next up, we've got Migration Path. Speaking of explosive vegetation, basically just a better version. Cycle it away for 2. And Vastwood Surge, we can kick it for 4 to get counters on our creatures. If we really want to do that, cool. Go for it. If not, just basically explosive vegetation. Again, 2 basics into play tapped. And we can set things up in this renewal. 6 mana, 3 basics into play tapped. Also gain 7 life. So nice little life padding right there. And then finally, we've got Verdant Mastery. We can play this for either 6 mana or 4. We play it for 6 mana. We are getting 4 basics, 2 go into tapped, 2 go into our hand. If we paid for 3, well, we are actually going to get those same 4 basics. 2 go into play tapped on our control. 1 goes into play tapped on our opponent's control. And we get 1 into our hand. Now, you might think we're done with ramping, but we're not quite done ramping just yet. So let's move on to tactic number 2, which I'm calling Massive Mana. And to start things off, well, we've got Awakening Zone, which is a fantastic card in this deck. An enchantment that says, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a 0/1 coastal Eldrazi spawn creature token on the battlefield, and you can sacrifice that for a colorless. So, every single one of our turns, we are getting another Eldrazi spawn, which, yes, can be a great blocker. We're probably not going to attack with it. It's a 0/1. It's going to be a great blocker for us. It can be a jump blocker, or if we can save these up turn after turn after turn, we've got a glut of additional colorless mana to help us get our commander out faster, or to help us flip our commander faster as well. Next up, we've got Frontier Siege, another great enchantment that gives us a ton of mana throughout the game. Enters the battlefield, choose cons or dragons. We're going to be choosing cons. At the beginning of each of your main phases, add green. Again, it says each of your main phases, that counts the first and second. So therefore, hey, 4 free mana each turn. I mean, you got to get it down first, but basically you're getting your mana back from this very, very quickly, and then some. So use that again for other ramp spells. Use that for, your commander. Use it to flip your commander. Use it for other spells. It's a great resource throughout the game. And speaking of resources, Brass's Bounty is budget friendly again, thanks to that reprint. For each land you control, create a treasure token for 7 mana. Yeah, you're going to be able to get a ton of lands into play. This basically just doubles up the amount of resources that you have temporarily. Yeah, those treasures aren't just going to last. You're going to utilize them, but still a giant kind of ritual effect that you can save that mana forever you want. That is fantastic. It's a great way to, get your commander out, get your commander flip, maybe even on the exact same turn. Yeah, you can do some really powerful things with a card like this. Now that we've talked about ramping, though, let's move on and talk about after we get our commander out, after we flip our commander, what do we want to do? Well, we want to take players out, and a great way to do that is with a card like Inquisitor's Flail. This card is hilarious on this commander. If a creature would deal combat damage, it deals double that damage instead. Gross. So our commander now, again, is an 11/11. It is hitting for 11 damage already, which is a ton. And again, If we can get through an opponent, maybe even enough to take them out if they don't block with enough. But now, hey, we're going to make it twice as hard because our commander's going to be hitting for 22 damage. Doubling up that damage is gross. Good luck to your opponent trying to actually, block enough. And again, our commander does have trample, so it's going to be able to get through. And yeah, if they don't block with, like 13, total toughness, they are gone. There is a downside to this, but not really for this commander because it doesn't really matter. If another creature would deal common damage to equipped creature deals double that damage to equipped creature instead, yeah, that doesn't matter. Our commander is indestructible, so that damage does not matter at all. No downside, all upside for this kind of a card. And of course, this pairs incredibly well with double strikes. Let's talk about cards like Lizard Blades. It's a 1/1 double striking equipment lizard, which is definitely a thing. An equipped creature has double strike, so yeah, it can be a creature when it's in play, or we can attach to our commander, and our commander again is going to be hitting twice as hard, and again, in combination with something like Inquisitor's Flail, basically 4 times as hard. So yeah, 22 times 2, basically hitting for 44 damage. Your opponents are not going to have enough defense to stop that. So yeah, these double damage and double strike combinations can be gross. Again, yeah, we've got ways to get our commander just through, but why not just overdo it too, right? Moving on, Psychotic Fury and a fantastic instant spell. Target multicolored creature gains double strike until end of turn, draw a card. Again, the backside of our commander, the side that we care about, is Gruul. So yeah, we are going to be giving a double strike at instant speed. We are going to be drawing a card. Again, an opponent might think they have enough defenses. They're like, okay, well, they're swinging with 11/11 that baseless infect. I'll block with, let's say 6 toughness and I'll be fine. And then you're like, instant speed this, double strike, you're gone? Because yeah, that's a thing. Draw a card too. Moving on, we've got Spectacular Showdown, a really fun card. Sorcery, put a double strike counter on target creature, then go to each creature that had double strike counter output this way. You can also overload it. So first up, we just get a double strike counter on our commander. That is incredible. Our commander's gonna have double strike probably for the rest of the game. Again, being indestructible, it is really, really, really hard to deal with. And yeah, the double strike counter is just gonna stick around. If we overload it, we put them on all creatures, and some chaotic things are going to happen because they're all going to be goated. So all your opponent's creatures are going to be swinging at the other opponents, and they're going to be wide open for our commander to go through. So have fun with that. Moving on, another flexible card, Twinferno. I love this card. Choose one. When you cast your next instant source spell this turn, copy the spell, choose targets for the copy. This can come in really handy early in the game. When you want to ramp very quickly, you can use this to double up a ramp spell or, a card advantage spell or something else. Or, hey, target creature control gains double strike until end of turn. Again, instant speed, great way to just trick an opponent and be like, hey, you thought you had enough toughness, to block. You're gone anyways. Goodbye. Moving on, Unleash Fury, a great instant way to just double up power. Again, something that does really, really well, again, in combination with those double strike effects. Again, getting your commander to 44 damage. Your opponents aren't going to be able to survive that basically ever, especially getting instant speed where it is just coming out of nowhere. They might block. Let's say you already had double strike on your commander, and they somehow are like, yeah, I've got enough to block, you're 22. I'm fine. And then you're like, Unleash Fury, double power. Yeah, we're going to be hitting for 44. You're gone. So yeah, these can just be great instant ways to do so. Speaking of which, choose your weapon. Very similar for 3 mana. Double target creature's power and toughness on turn. Or we can deal 5 damage to our creature with flying. So it can be a good removal spell. Or again, instant speed, just double it up. And then we've got Fire Shrieker. Again, just a very good standard double strike equipment. Just very simply gives double strike. We need that. What's not to love about that? In a not as simple way, but in a very good way, we've got Two-Handed Axe, which, yes, can give double strike, but on the adventure side of that, target creature controlled gains double strike until end of turn at instant speed for 2 mana. Again, that's fantastic. Or, if we equip it, whenever equipped creature attacks, double its power until end of turn. So this can do kind of both halves of it, which can just be fantastic. And if we can just do both on the exact same turn, our opponent's going to be in big trouble. And of course, a great enchantment with this deck is also going to be Blood Mist. At the beginning of combat, your turn, target creature control gains double strike until end of turn. Again, just basically perpetual double strike for our commander. We don't really care about giving our other creatures double strike, just this one. So that's all we really care about. Again, there's tons of ways to double up the amount our commander is going to be hitting for, which again can make it incredibly deadly thanks to that trample. But of course, we're not done with making it deadly just yet. So let's move on to tactic number 4, which I'm calling Coming Through. And to start things off, we've got Gorgon's Head. Very simple piece of equipment. Equipped creature has Death Touch. Now, Death Touch is incredible with Trample. Even if our opponents see this coming, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to stop us because, again, Death Touch basically means with Trample, hey, you just have to assign 1 point of combat damage to take a creature out, as long as that creature, say, doesn't have indestructible. But basically, again, if our opponents, say, block with 3 creatures, and let's say their toughness in total was like 15, that doesn't matter, because we're like, okay, assign 1, assign 1, assign 1. It's only 3 of our damage, and it takes out all those creatures. The rest is going to go through on that opponent. So again, you know, in combination with a double strike effect, essentially, too, can be incredible. Yeah, a lot of great ways to take advantage of Death Touch with a commander like this. Moving on. A card that I loved in my very first deck I ever built on this channel, and is fantastic with this commander too, Hot Soup. This card is hilarious, and again, it does have a downside, so it doesn't see too much play, but with this commander, there is no downside. Quick creature can't be blocked, just unblockable, because your giant Phyrexian Elder Dinosaur is like, I've got this Hot Soup, don't block me, I'm gonna drop it. And then, hey, if it's ever dealt damage, though, you destroy it. But that doesn't matter. Even if your opponent, say, lightning bolts your commander, it doesn't matter, because again, your commander is indestructible. So he's got this Hot Soup, and it's like, oh no, oh, I got hit. Doesn't matter, I'm fine, walking through. So yeah, a crazy good card with this commander. Again, just your commander is already a one-shot KO. Get it through on anyone, they are gone. Next up, though, Zephyr Boots. Quick creature has flying. Flying is usually enough to get through on an opponent. At least one of your 3 opponents probably won't have a flyer to block, and when they don't, they're going to be gone. Even if they do have a flyer, it might just be like a 1/1 Thopter, and you're still getting through with lethal on them because of that trample. Also, on top of that, when you do get through, a quick creature deals combination to a player, draw a card, discard a card. Great looting effect, great card selection for you throughout the game. Again, your commander is going to be getting through on opponents. Speaking of getting through, Key to the City, yes, tap, discard a card, make your commander unblockable. What's not to love about that? Your opponent just is not going to be able to stop you. You're going to be able to get through, and on top of that, when this untaps, you can pay 2 and then draw a card. So basically, a delayed rummaging effect with that unblockability. Yeah, a fantastic card with this commander. Moving on, instant speed, Death Touch, yeah, can be so deadly with this commander. I love it. Poison the Blade, target creature gains Death Touch on the turn, draw a card for just 2 mana. Your commander, again, you go through, you attack a player, they're like, well, I've got like this 8 toughness creature, so I'm fine. I'll block your 11 power commander, and I'll just take 3 poison counters. And then you're like, instant speed, Death Touch, I'll draw a card too, thank you. Hey, assign 1 combat damage to that, that's gone, and 10 is coming through at you. Bye-bye. Yeah, again, the math calculations that your opponents are going to be making are going to be completely wrong because of all these combat damage tricks that you can do with a deck like this. You don't need combat damage tricks, though. I mean, unless you're playing against an Arcades Strategist deck when you're using Prowler's Helm. Quick creature can't be blocked except by walls. Again, the vast majority of decks, nearly all decks out there have 0 walls in their deck. 0 walls in their deck. Unless you're playing against, you know, your friends, Arcades Strategist deck, which is all walls, this is basically this unblockability for your commander against all opponents. So, good luck to them. Now, you don't need unblockability all the time because Vorak Battlehorns can help you just, well, do enough to really get through on anyone. Vorak Battlehorn says quick creature has trample, which is nice, but our commander already has trample. But the important part here is, and can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, which means, hey, you better have some really high toughness creatures or you're gone. And even if you do, even if, say, you've got an 11 or even 12 toughness creature on the board, ready to block me, hey, double strike, you're gone. Yeah, making an opponent be able to block with 1 creature is a death sentence for them with this commander. I love it. Next up, Wings of Hubris. This one's really cool, actually. Quick creature has flying. Again, flying is usually enough to get through on most opponents, but sometimes it's not. And when it isn't, hey, sacrifice this. Quick creature can't be blocked this turn. Sacrifice to begin the next end step. This can be a great Hail Mary play to just take out that last opponent where you're like, you know what? That player has some flyers in play. I am fine just swinging through, sacrificing this, and taking that player out. Game over. Great card. Moving on, the final card in this stack is Familiar Ground, a really funny old card. Each creature control can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, so basically, again, hey, like a Vorak Battlehorns in a way, but on an enchantment that just stays out there. And yeah, your opponents aren't going to be able to block your commander with more than 1 creature. Good luck to them. So they're going to be taken out quite easily. Now, as good as all these cards are, though, let's move on to attack number 5 and talk about the Golden Pig of this deck, which, of course, is the number 1 card out of 99. And the Golden Pig for this deck is Hexplate Wallbreaker. Oh, my goodness. Here we go. An equipment that costs 3 red for Mirrodin. When this equipment enters the battlefield, you get a 2/2 red rebel. Attach it to it. Nice. Quick creature gets +2/+2. Nice. Whenever quick creature attacks, if it's the first combat phase, each turn, untap each attacking creature of this phase, the initial combat phase, since equip cost is 3 and a red. So basically, hey, extra combat on an attack with this equipment. Absolutely a fantastic card. Again, your opponents, well, you're going to be taking them out one at a time, right, with this commander most of the time. But if you have this in play, whether you're swinging with the rebels attached to a different creature or attached to your commander, hey, you can very easily take out 2 opponents in the exact same turn. Double up your effectiveness, double up your efficiency, double up the deadliness of your commander. Yeah, this is a fantastic card in Hexplate Wallbreaker, one of the very few additional combat cards in budget, and is definitely, in my opinion, the golden pig of this deck. Now, we've got some other great cards in this deck, though, so let's move on to tactic number 6, which I'm calling Hands Off. And yeah, hands off my Etali, because I'm going to be utilizing Voyager Staff. Pay 2, sacrifice it, blink a creature, bring it back. Basically, at the end of the turn. Basically, what's going to happen is, again, your commander, unfortunately, if it's on the backside, will flip and come back on the front side. That being said, there is a benefit to that as well. Hey, you were trying to take out my commander, you know, maybe an exile spell or whatnot. Let me just, you know, blink my commander. It's going to come back to the front side. I have to pay, you know, to actually flip it again. But I do get the benefit of that ETB. I do get to cast things off the top of libraries. And yeah, have fun with that. Next up, Mask of Avacyn. You know what's really good in combination with Indestructible? Hexproof. Your opponent is going to have very few, very limited ways to take out your commander once you have Hexproof on your commander as well. So +1/+2 Hexproof on Mask of Avacyn, that is just great. Next up, Mirror Shield, +0/+2 Hexproof, and also this thing about blocking Death Touch. It doesn't really matter. That part does not really matter all that much. I mean, I guess if an opponent blocks with a Death Toucher, cool, it just takes them out, which is nice. But more importantly, hey, Hexproof, protect your commander. So we're also going to be running Swiftfoot Boots. Hexproof and Haste. I almost said Hasteproof. But yeah, basically Hasteproof. Let's go with that. So yeah, again, swing quick with your commander and also protect your commander. And then finally, we've got Reincarnation, a very weird card, but one that works well with this commander. Choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, return a creature card from its owner's grave to the battlefield under its control under the control of that creature's owner. We got there. Basically, hey, let's say an opponent has an edict effect, takes out your commander. There's a couple of ways that opponents can still take out your commander if it dies. You can utilize something like this to get it right back into play. And again, get that ETB. Yes, you have to pay to actually flip it again, but still you're getting a lot of value. Now, how are we actually going to get to all these great cards? Let's move on to tactic number 7, which I'm calling Knowledge is Power. And to start things off, we've got Cathartic Union. Discard 2 cards, draw 3 cards. Great. Dig deeper into your deck. Next up, we got Colossal Majesty. At the beginning of your upkeep, control a creature power 4 greater, draw a card. Yeah, we're going to meet that requirement quite easily once we get our commander out, either side of our commander out. Moving on, we've got Hunter's Insight, a fantastic card with this kind of a commander. Choose target creature control whenever the creature is combined to a player planeswalker this turn. Draw that many cards. So, the front side of our commander, we can easily draw 7+ cards. Again, we've got those double strikes. We've got, you know, ways to double up power. The backside, again, 11, and again, potentially for even more with a card like this. So for just 3 mana, we can draw an absurd amount of cards, or for 4 mana, we can draw 3 cards all the time with Harmonize, a good, solid card. Moving on, Pirate's Pillage. Discard 1 card, draw 2, create 2 treasure tokens. So some great temporary ramp and card advantage for us as well. Next up, we've got Glorious Sunrise, a very flexible card in this deck. Enchantment at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1, creature control it +1/+1 and gain trample on a turn. That is a small pump effect, but one that, again, can have implications. Again, let's say an opponent we know is only going to be blocked with a certain amount. They can only block with a certain amount of toughness. We're like, okay, do the math. All right, I can give it double strike. All right, I can get to now 12, which gets me to 24. That might be enough just to get you through. Next up, target land gets tapped for 3 green, so that's just good ramp for us as well. Draw a card if you control a creature power 3 or greater. Again, great, you know, card advantage throughout the game for us, or you gain 3 life. That might help out in a pinch, so a lot of great choices for us. Speaking of a great choice, Imposing Grandeur. A great card for a deck like this. Source for each player may discard their hand and draw cards to the greatest mana value of a commander they own on the battlefield in the command zone, which would be 7 for us, obviously. So yeah, pay 5 mana, discard our hand, draw 7 cards. Or we can draw even more. Soul's Majesty, again, on the front side, 7 or even more if we double up the power. Draw cards equal to the greatest power of target creature control Soul's Majesty. Or again, on the backside, 11 or even more if we double up that power as well. Next up, though, let's move on to talking about ways that we can actually throw a wrench to our opponent's plans with tactic number 8, Out of My Way. And first up, we've got a card that can help us out in 2 ways. Broken Bond. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, and you put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So basically, hey, removal for us, and also ramp for us as well. Next up, we've got Canker Bloom. This one's really funny with this commander. Sacrifice it by paying 1, choose 1, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or proliferate. So yeah, we can take out a pesky artifact or enchantment, or let's say an unlucky opponent is at, well, like 9 poison counters. They're like, I survived! And you're like, proliferate, you're gone. Bye-bye. Moving on, we've got Hull Breach, a great removal spell. Choose 1, destroy target artifact, or destroy target enchantment, or destroy target artifact and target enchantment for just 2 mana. A lot of efficiency, a lot of value for that. Next up, damage is great for us because, again, Etali is going to have indestructible, so it doesn't care. Savage Twister, it's going to deal X damage to each creature. Very effective, very efficient. We have plenty of ways to ramp. Again, play a lot of mana that X, take out all your opponent's creatures, leave your commander, on the battlefield alone, being able to swing through at anyone and take them out. Speaking of which, in speed, we can do so as well. Starstorm, X damage each creature, or we can cycle it away if we need to. Next up, Arc Bond. This one can be very sneaky, and I love it. 3 mana, instantly choose target creature. When another creature is dealt damage this turn, deals that much damage to each other creature and each player. Yep, this can be an absurd amount of damage. Again, we can just even choose our opponent's creatures dealing damage to each other if they've got some big creatures. Take all creatures out essentially except for our commander. And again, yeah, when our commander is dealing damage or being dealt damage, yeah, it can just dish out all that damage to everyone's faces and all creatures too. Then we've got Dire Strain Rampage. This one's very interesting, very flexible. Search target artifact, enchantment, or land. If the land is destroyed this way, it's controlled by search library for the 2 basic land cards. Put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Otherwise, they get 1. Basically, hey, we can destroy an opponent's, land or artifact or enchantment if we need to. If it's pesky, if we want to ramp with this, we actually can by targeting one of our own things as well. And we can flash it back. How nice. Next up, Chain Reaction, a great removal spell as well. Just 4 mana. X damage each creature, X number of creatures on the battlefield. This can easily get to 10 plus damage. Again, you're playing commander, you've got 3 opponents or 4 players with creatures. Yeah, and if one player, say, is going wide, with a token deck maybe, hey, that could be like 20 damage to all creatures. So goodbye all creatures. Again, our commander with indestructible does not care at all. Next up, Fate from History. Each player controls an artifact or enchantment gets a 2/2 bear. Cute, nice. But also, hey, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Great. Again, get rid of every single of those pesky artifacts and enchantments. And we can just get rid of everything with Neverall's Disc, though. Enters the battlefield, tap, pay 1, tap, destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. Again, our commander does not care. Our commander's like, indestructible, dude, I'm sticking around. All your opponent's creatures are gone. The path is open for your commander to swing through and take out one of your opponents. This is a great removal spell for us. Now, there is one final tactic. I want to highlight a couple of lands for you that work very well with this commander. And first up, of course, in deck number 9, there is Rogue's Passage, a great land for this commander. Tap for a colorless, pay 4, tap target creature can be blocked this turn. This land is invaluable. Just like, hey, your commander's a one-shot KO. If you can get it through, you win. And this is like, hey, get your commander through on a land. Yeah, that is well worth it being in this deck. And then finally, we've got Colony Ambush, a great card in this deck as well in MDFC. So you can play for the backside of the land that enters the battlefield, taps for a green. On the front side, target creature control fights target creature you don't control. So you can take out a creature, pretty much any creature, right, with your commander, because your commander, well, the backside is going to have 11 powers indestructible, so it can take out basically anything. That can be a great way to get your commander through. It can be a great way to ensure that you can win, and take out that last player or whatnot. Or, just if someone has a pesky creature that you really want to get rid of it with this. So yeah, this commander, I think, is a really exciting one. I think many players out there are going to enjoy this deck. If you're one of them, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. Sorry, the deck list link in the description below. Consider picking it up, and yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. Comment below your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.